So it seems like there's been a pretty big situation in the Hoyoverse of voice actor sphere. Now this might be one of the biggest situations we've had since the Paimon stuff that went on a couple of months ago with the whole strikes and things like that, right? And this is to do with the voice actor for Dr. Ratio, Jordan Paul Haro. Now obviously from what I've seen, and at least from previous posts and stuff, he seems like a pretty, nice guy, but he's been under fire lately due to a couple of the posts that he made. And well, it's been pretty insane. So obviously he actually returned from hiatus, saying happy Friday everyone. As I slowly get reacclimated back into streaming, I wanted to address something on a more serious note as to the kind of content I want to make moving forward. So yeah, he posted this saying back from hiatus, and well, yeah, as you can see, it's got 2.7 million views and only 1.4 thousand likes, which to be fair is actually grown a lot since the last time I looked at this. Now essentially, yeah, what they do is they talk about a lot of things. For example, they talk about the reason for hiatus. He was saying that his computer, which was close to 15 years old, experienced a massive critical failure, which I did see him tweet at one point, and said that he decided that it was not worth the extensive troubleshooting required to fix. He said he was re-experiencing feelings of depression, anxiety, burnout, and a sense of being disconnected from what he had overcome. And then also he realized he had video games, which were once a dear comfort, became a primary distraction that allowed him to ignore his problems. He now sees them as only a distraction and will not be incorporating them into his future streaming content as they bring back feelings of loneliness and depression. So it seems like he's going to be not making content towards gaming and stuff. Again, I haven't really seen any of his streams or his YouTube videos, so I don't know how much he tapped into that before. Obviously he is a video game voice actor though, so he is pretty involved in the gaming space, right? Being away from social media and constant content consumption allowed him to remove distractions and focus on some more positive activities. He said he took a trip to Wyoming with his family, which he described as a medicine for the soul, which the peace and tranquility of the location allowed him to dive into his Christian faith, read the Bible, and hear God's voice. So it seems like obviously he has been getting into a little bit more Christianity and things like that, which obviously is great for him, because I know, obviously I know a lot of people either don't support it, or don't believe in it, or believe in something else, right? Or maybe they do believe in it, right? There's multiple kind of opinions on Christianity in terms of how much people believe, right? And I think that for some people, even if you don't think it's like one of the things that you want to kind of be involved with, for some people it does actually help them, it does help them kind of find a way in life to kind of move forwards and things, and obviously that is done through that, which I think is great. And obviously if that's the way you want to take it, that's totally okay. And I think that anybody that is kind of criticizing him for that is totally wrong. I don't think I've seen any messages for that, but again, I think that, yeah, obviously is a pretty obvious one. And then obviously he goes on to this bit, because you're probably thinking right now, why is this so, inflammatory? He hasn't really said anything that bad. He's just taking a break, isn't playing video games. Are they going after him for not playing video games? No. They're going after him because recently he discussed, obviously, the events of Charlie Kirk, which obviously, if you don't know, is an assassination which happened a couple of weeks ago. And obviously it was pretty terrible, And I think that anybody that is obviously going after him for being sad about it, obviously I think they're completely wrong there, but again, he does go on to say stuff like he was inspired by Charlie Kirk's belief that people need to return to a common place of discussion to prevent violence from breeding. And obviously a lot of people then latched onto that kind of aspect of things, and a lot of him kind of talking about his beliefs, which is like a completely different can of worms. I think some people can obviously feel sad for the fact that he, obviously someone had died, and it was a pretty terrible event, right? But then also there's the other half of people who obviously then believe in everything that you're saying and stuff, which I think is completely separated from each other. You don't have to believe in what he says to be sad that he died. But again, obviously, yeah, there was a lot of talk about Charlie Kirk in this video, which he, goes on to talk about pretty extensively around in the 20-minute mark. And he just pretty much just talks about it and some of his beliefs to do with that. But then it all kind of blew up with tons of posts and things, and people not being happy. Now, there's been some support. For example, people saying, fellow Christian here, please know I'm continuing to praying for you, and I will continue to support you no matter what. So Jordan, I seriously consider you listen to your fans and try to understand how this makes us feel. I'm so unbelievably disappointed to support and make a role model out of a man who spouted so much hate and discrimination. So this is extremely disappointing to hear, Jordan. I strongly encourage you to listen to the voices of those of us who have been directly harmed by people like Charlie Kirk. Understand our lived experiences and consider your position. And said directly harmed. I don't understand what you mean by that. Are you saying that he physically assaulted you? Which, yeah, it's kind of true. I mean, directly harmed is pretty crazy thing to say. Directly harmed obviously implies that he's done something to you personally, which maybe he has, but I don't think he did. So obviously indirectly harmed, sure, you know, that obviously makes sense. But again, directly harmed, no. They say, you know, I'm sorry you feel this way, but I have yet to hear a convincing argument that Charlie Kirk exposed hate towards any people group, which again, obviously can be debated through a lot of people. I mean, you know, there's so many people that have been kind of speaking about this, and I think, you know, there's been support from both sides and negativity from both sides as well, which I think is pretty interesting. Now, obviously, other voice actors have also been getting involved. There's also other voice actors in the comments down here somewhere, which I thought was pretty crazy because, again, as I said, we haven't really seen much of this since like the whole kind of Paimon stuff that went on. But obviously, yeah, Sam Slade here, who's the voice actor for Firefly and also Topaz. Oh, no, sorry, no, she just does Topaz, not Firefly. Topaz and Ambi. And obviously, they say this is this is an incredible example of the fans and the internet don't need to know everything, Jordan. I'm glad you found relief with your mental health, and I hope you'll I hope you'll hear and listen with earnest responsibility to the community you've created. Which I think is true, but also I think it's true that, you know, obviously Jordan can be open with his community, you know? He's allowed to express his opinions and share his thoughts on things. Whether people dislike it or not, you know, it doesn't really matter. But I think at the end of the day, he is allowed to share his thoughts and what he means. And obviously they said the fans of the internet don't need to know everything. Now, many people have been arguing, obviously, professionality. Is this really professional for him to do? You know, obviously maybe not. But at the same time, I think that, you know, if he wants to kind of take his content in this direction, then that's entirely up to him and how he wants to conduct himself, right? And you know, maybe it won't get him any more kind of voice acting roles, as you know, some people don't want to be kind of associated with it. But again, you know, it's entirely his decision at the end of the day if he wants to kind of ruin that, right? It said he did. Obviously, this is Allegra Clark, another voice actor for Beidou, and I forgot who else she does. She does something. Oh, Acheron, that's it. Obviously, she's been talking, saying, by the way, I'm grateful for people who are voicing that it still helps to hear VAs speaking out in support. It's all valid and correct. I'll never tell someone they shouldn't feel comforted by those messages. That where the issue lies is why X hasn't said anything. That's where it becomes dangerous. And obviously, I actually agree with Allegra there, saying that obviously people being silent about a situation doesn't mean that they're complicit or that they're, you know, kind of what you would call adding on to the situation, right? That's not the case. I think obviously some people just don't want to get involved. Some people just want to carry on with whatever the hell they're doing and not get involved at all. And obviously some people as well saying, I think many people were scared, more so absolutely terrified, because he said, and obviously they're talking about Jordan here, that many VAs share his values. As much as we would all love to think that being part of a minority is an antidote to ignorance, it isn't. But yes, I do agree with your sentiment in general. And obviously, yeah, Allegra has kept it very, very vague in who she's talking about and what she's talking about, especially in the original thing as well. She doesn't mention his name anywhere. So obviously it can be confusing for a lot of people, you know, people saying what's going on now. And obviously, yeah, this person says, you know, Dr. Ratio VA Jordan Paul Haro has come out by saying that he looks up to Charlie Kirk and a bunch of other bigoted stuff. He's refusing to listen to anyone who points out this BS. So yeah, and again, yeah, that's how it's essentially going. And obviously then they respond to it saying he did okay. That explains a little bit about this time in particular, though this does still happen every time. There's always people who say every ENVA sucks when one person is bad. Also, I have no idea who he's talking about, which obviously, yeah, I think what they're talking about here is the fact that apparently he mentioned that some of the other VAs share his values, which again, you know, might be true, and he might have actually met some people, but again, they're saying, Allegra saying, I think he's lying, by the way. Which, again, I think is pretty crazy because, you know, you don't know who he's talked to. You don't know what voice actors that he's spoken to. I think as a fellow voice actor, a fellow professional, right, you shouldn't just go and say, oh, he's lying, by the way. No one else actually supports that to kind of like save face. I think that obviously there could be some people out there who also agree with him in his opinions, and maybe you haven't talked to them or you haven't discussed that topic with them before. So again, obviously, I think that is a little bit weird just to be saying, oh, by the way, he's lying, when, you know, you don't really know. You don't know who he's talked to. You don't know what he's been kind of doing behind the scenes, right? And obviously there's been a lot of other voice actors and other people as well kind of talking about it, saying you deserve love and comfort, you know, autistic, gay, disabled, POC, trans, I don't care, you're safe with me here. Obviously that's Annalisa Fisher, as well as so many people just talking about it, and voice actors saying that they're welcome in their community, which, yeah, I think is pretty interesting. And obviously this is all in response to what is going on. Now, obviously, we've got Tectone on the other kind of side of things, in terms of like Allegra and what other people are saying, right? Saying the Hoyo VAs are such disingenuous pieces of blank, it's insane. They say they're out here throwing Jordan Dr. Ratio VA under the bus because he said Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to be assassinated for speaking his mind. Christian values are important to him, which I do, you know, obviously for me, I think that those two things obviously shouldn't be he shouldn't be attacked for, he shouldn't be hated on for. He completely is in his own right to think that, you know, obviously he didn't deserve to be assassinated, which is 100% true, and and Christian values are important to him, 100% true too. Now, obviously, you know, it might not be important to you, but if it's important to him, then, you know, let him be. He's allowed to do that, right? But I think people, I think Tectone did miss out a little bit here, in the sense that obviously he was saying that he looked up to him and he was inspired by him for other stuff, which I think is, you know, what people are more mad about. So again, obviously I can understand both sides here. I think, you know, from Tectone's point of view, from what he's arguing here, Charlie Kirk and him being assassinated and the Christian values, that is pretty pathetic to be attacking someone by. But again, obviously it becomes a little bit more of a debate whenever you start talking about whether he believed in Charlie's beliefs and stuff like that, because then obviously I can see why people are pretty angry at him, which obviously, yeah, is pretty interesting. They say your people are absolutely pathetic. Keep virtual signaling to your weak limp dig audiences that have to be reassured that they're in a safe space. What a joke all of you are. You stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything, and your audience is fickle and will turn against you. Pathetic. So again, obviously Tectone is not happy with that, and I think, yeah, obviously a lot of them have been kind of going pretty hard at Jordan. Again, obviously I don't know how this is going to end, but again, that is essentially the entire summary of the situation. Oh, as well as people submitting Hoyoverse reports as well. So a lot of people are trying to get him fired for saying this stuff on his video, which I think honestly is it's pretty ridiculous. You could not agree with him, sure, 100%. You can say that you don't agree with his beliefs, or you don't agree with all of this stuff, but I think getting him fired over this is pretty insane for just voicing his opinions. Again, obviously, if he was trying to do other stuff, like you know, going after, you know, hurting the company in another kind of sense, then sure. But again, I don't know. I think it's like a little bit of a mixed bag. I think that he doesn't really deserve to be reported for kind of, you know, voicing his opinions, but at the same time, he is supposed to be a professional, where, you know, obviously sometimes your opinions can affect how, you know, your kind of career, you know, it can affect what is going on in the space. And obviously we know that with the whole Paimon stuff that went on, you know, she was very kind of adamant about a lot of her views, which ended up getting her fired, which obviously could be the same case for Jordan here, which again I think is a interesting kind of thing. So again, obviously that is a full update on what is going on. This is exactly everything, really. There's been tons of replies and comments and quotes of them calling him a horrible person, things like that. So again, obviously I didn't want to bore you with all of them, because again, there's like thousands. So again, so many. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there, sorry. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.